Welcome to How Not to Suck at Business and Marketing. I'm your host, Dana Sanchez, and today we are going to be talking about confusion. So the title of this episode is If You Confuse, You Lose. And just for the sake of, I doubt if anyone from StoryBrand is watching, but one of my very favorite podcasts is called StoryBrand by Donald Miller, and that is one of their sayings, if you will. If you confuse, you lose. So I did take that from there. I take a lot of stuff. You should too. So, okay. Story time. Ironically, if you watched last week's episode, where I talked about the guy who called me and said, so tell me about yourself. I'm a used car dealer. Well, I used to sell used cars, but now I do this, this, and this. So tell me about yourself. I'm a used car dealer. When was he going to give me a chance to tell me about himself? Or when was he going to give a chance for me to tell him about myself, rather? So this actually has to do with him. So we met yesterday, and he sells digital advertising, and which can be, I have enough knowledge. I have a lot of knowledge, actually, in digital advertising. And some people just have enough knowledge to be dangerous, and I was going to say I had enough knowledge to be dangerous, but I actually have enough knowledge to be quite proficient, but not, I don't want to do it, but I know about it, but I don't want to do it. So he confused me. I don't mean that in a bad way, because I don't know everything, but I do know a bit, quite a bit. But in no means would I call myself a digital marketing expert. And by digital marketing, I mean like purchasing ads through Google to help your website, to drive people to your website. In this case, that's what I'm referring to. So anyway, we met with this gentleman, and there was 3 of us in the room. And after 2 hours of asking questions and getting answers that sort of went around in circles, actually not sort of, did go around in circles, we were exhausted, me especially. At the end of the meeting, after this guy left, we kind of looked at each other like, did that just happen? We don't think we even know any more than what we did before he drove all the way from St. Louis to meet with us. It was like he didn't want to tell us stuff. Like he was purposely making it as confusing as possible. Now, I think some people actually do that as a way to keep you in the dark, to keep you, to buy their services, keeping you on. Hi, there's my daughter, Haven. How is school? I'm on live on my How Not to Suck. I'm talking about confusion.
Hey, everyone.
What do you think about confusion, Haven? Do you think it's a good thing?
Yeah, I think it's a good thing.
Confusion is?
Well, it depends on what you're confused about.
Okay, if someone is confused about a menu, you work at the food truck.
Right.
If they're confused about the menu and
they should ask.
Oh gosh, dear Lord, you need to tune into this. She needs to tune into this. So, here's what happens, Haven, when people are confused. As soon as you confuse someone...
I'm confused all the time. I'm literally confused all the time.
Okay, well, if you're confused all the time, what's happening in your brain is that it burns more calories. So the more you have to think about something, the more calories your brain burns, and then it actually just kind of tunes out. Is that why you tune out in class, Haven?
Sometimes.
Probably. So your brain will literally tune out. If it says, this is causing me to think too much, I'm burning too many calories, I'm going to turn off or tune out to this. I'm just going to stop paying attention. And that was funny. So in that case, and that's typical example, like I was actually thinking before coming on here about restaurants. Don't make your menus confusing. And people will tell me this. Business people will say, well, they can just ask. No, don't make your customers have to ask for something. The easier you make it for people to do business with you, the more people are likely to say yes. So don't leave things vague and obscure and people wondering, is this special good? Is that sale going on? When does that end? When do I get this? Make it easy to understand. Trust me, you don't get extra points for being difficult and obscure. You just don't. So answer as many questions as you possibly can. Make it easy for people to find you. Have a sign on your building. That's interesting. A novel idea. On your menu, make it easy. Don't listen to my 17-year-old. Like she said, she's confused all the time. So she's making things too difficult. Here's how you do it. How to make it easy. In any business, you can do it this way. So this is how you make it easy for people to do business with you. Is one, you give them all the information up front. You answer their questions, ideally, before they ask. So that there's you think of, what is the reason someone wouldn't buy my product? Do they not understand it? Have I not explained the benefits and how it'll affect their life? And then you tell them what it's going to look like when they buy your product. Okay, so say you offer financing at your retail store. Here's what you do. People have a lot of questions. Well, am I going to get approved? Am I not going to get approved? How does this work? You just tell them, if you want to apply for financing, step 1, come into the store, fill out an application. Step 2, the approval process. We'll fax it over or we'll email it over to the company, and within 15 minutes, it'll be yes or no, or how much you're approved for. Step 3 is when you purchase your item. So just make it real easy. Put it out in 3 steps. This is what it looks like when you do business with me. I was thinking about menus. It's funny that she brought that up because there's quite a few Mexican places here in my area that we love to eat at. And a friend of mine and I went out to dinner, and recently, God rest their soul. I mean, they're not dead, but kind of. I mean, there's a business that we really love to frequent here in town, and they went out of business. So we had to go to this other Mexican place. And so we were at this other Mexican place, and my friend's like, hey, do you remember the dish that they served at Los Tres Amigos? It was such and such a dish. And the guy goes, yeah. Oh, yeah, I remember that. We don't serve that here. We looked around the restaurant. Now, if you've ever been to a Mexican restaurant and you've seen the menu, it's like a mile long. So they have the ingredients. Nobody was there but us. Why not just say, you know what? Tell you what, we'll make it for you. I can get it if you're a chain, if you have a franchise, and you just cannot go outside the box. But if you're locally owned, hey, and someone's asking for that, I think, wow, this place is out of business. That was a really popular dish. How about we just incorporate that into our menu? Or just go above and beyond for that person that one time. Gosh, make it simple. Don't leave people to think things. People think if you leave them so confused that, especially in the technical world, where if you build websites or you do any sort of technical things, they'll start coming at you with, and you ask them why or how does this work, and they talk all this gibberish, and you're like, I don't understand. And that's exactly the way they want it. Ugh. But then what's going to happen is that someone like me will come along and explain it and break it down in a way that's easy and simple to understand. And then people say, okay. So make it so easy that someone can just say yes. When I sold radio advertising or when I sold pagers, gosh, I'm really dating myself. When I sold cell phones, when I sold pagers, good night. I would make it so easy. They didn't even have to think about it. I'd look at their bill of how many, and I'd find out how many pagers they have now. One of the objections was, we don't want to have to switch out all the pagers. I'll do it for you. I took down all their phone numbers. I transferred them over. I would hand them out to employees. The same thing when I sold radio advertising. I would write the commercial. I would write out the schedule. In fact, I wrote 3 different schedules, and I allowed them to choose which schedule that best fit their budget. And I wrote the commercial. I left nothing to chance. If you just say, hey, would you like to buy this? And they think, oh gosh, what am I going to have to do? Am I going to have to write the commercial? Am I going to have to write the schedule? Then they're thinking too much, and then they don't want to do business with you because they're just like, come back later. I don't know if you sell advertising, if you heard come back later, that's a no. That means you're making me think too much and I'm not sold. Come back later. Make it easy for me. I don't care if you're selling cars or motorcycles, make it easy. Make it to where there's no question. Here's what you do. Step 1, step 2, step 3. Well, Dana, I don't have a step 1, step 2, step 3. Make one up. I mean, make it real, but devise a step 1, step 2, step 3. That's it. That's all you got to do. Make it easy. Again, nobody gets points for being difficult and obscure. Nobody. So with that, I'm Dana Sanchez. Hope you guys are having a great day. Tune in next week for How Not to Suck at Business and Marketing. And until then, be amazing and don't suck.